Good morning and welcome to this trip report. It's 5:45 a.m. right now and I'm on my way to Toronto's Pearson International Airport for a flight over to Montreal. I've been in Toronto for work for the past week and need to be in the office in Montreal by 9:30 a.m. for a meeting. If everything's on time this morning, I should be on the ground in Montreal by 8:15 a.m. The Toronto to Montreal route operated by Air Canada is a very popular one for business travelers, especially these early morning flights for people like me trying to make it to the other city for the workday. Standing outside Terminal 1 this morning, it's already packed with cars dropping people off and looking very busy. Stepping into the domestic departures area of the terminal at 6:08 a.m., it's looking like a bit of a mess and my stress level has just gone up astronomically. The line we're looking at here is just to get into the check-in area, which although I already checked in online and I'm not checking any hold luggage for today's flight, I still need to join it to get to security on the other side. Thankfully the line is moving at a decent pace, but boarding starts in 15 minutes and, well, I may be cutting this a little too close. There are self-serve check-in kiosks for printing boarding passes and baggage tags located both before and after the checkpoint to enter the check-in area, but I already have my boarding pass loaded on the Air Canada mobile app, so I'll be heading straight through to security once I get out of this line. After reaching the front of the line, an Air Canada agent is there to confirm your destination to ensure that you're traveling domestically, and then you're asked to sanitize your hands and you're free to proceed. I certainly wasn't expecting it to be this busy this early in the morning, but that appears to be a gross miscalculation on my part. Arriving at the start of the security line, not only is the regular line full of people, but the backup queue is in full use as well. After clearing the backup queue at 6:20 a.m., I'm now joining the regular line with 5 minutes until my flight starts to board, to take my mind off the very high possibility of missing my 7 a.m. flight, and to cover the sound of my panting as I do a not-so-gracious fast walk to my gate from security. Let's talk a bit more about the Toronto to Montreal route. Pre-COVID, Air Canada used to operate this route every hour on the hour, and at certain times in the day, even more frequent than that. These days, the first flight of the morning over to Montreal is either 6:30 a.m. or 7 a.m., while going the opposite way to Toronto, it's a 5:30 a.m. departure from Montreal. I booked the 7 a.m. flight for this morning, but on this particular day, there's also a 6:30 a.m. before it and an 8 a.m. after it. After the 8 a.m. departure, however, the next flight was at noon, so it's pretty clear that this reduced COVID schedule is still catering to commuters. Air Canada also operates a very frequent schedule from Toronto's Island Airport over to Montreal and vice versa. Back to what is now less of a panic situation, I managed to exit security screening at 6:35 a.m. and briskly made my way down to gate D36 where my flight was now boarding. I made it to the gate with 7 minutes until the boarding door was scheduled to close, so I'm calling that a success, though it was a bit more stress than I'd hoped to start my day with. Taking a quick look at the aircraft shuttling me over to Montreal this morning, I'll be on board this Airbus A220-300, formerly known as the Bombardier C Series and built right here in Canada. This particular aircraft was delivered to Air Canada in February of 2020 and has been flying with the airline for a year and a half. Air Canada initially had an order for 45 of these A220 aircraft with options for an additional 30, but after the start of the pandemic, they reduced that order to just 35 aircraft. Air Canada is using these aircraft to replace their aging Airbus A320 fleet and their already retired Embraer E190 fleet, with plans to use them on both short-haul and transcontinental routes throughout North America. After boarding with Zone 4 and stepping on board the aircraft, I made my way to my seat. For this flight, I selected seat 13A, which is the window seat on the left side of the aircraft in the second row of the economy class cabin. The view from this seat looks out just ahead of the left engine and the wing. The space in the seat row is decently tight at 30 inches, and my backpack doesn't fit very well under the seat in front. I was, however, able to get my rollerboard bag into the overhead bin without any issue. In terms of the seat itself, it's quite wide at 19 inches, which is at least an inch wider than the economy seats on most other Air Canada aircraft. The surface is leather and quite thin and firm, but for such a short flight, that's hardly a concern. Each seat is equipped with a seatback entertainment screen, which we'll tour in detail later in the flight. Below the entertainment screen is a tray table that folds out from the seat back in front. It's mounted on rails such that it can slide outwards towards you, and the first thing that jumps out to me is that it's quite small, similar to those on Air Canada's new Boeing 737 MAXes. Definitely not ideal for using a laptop on it. Below the tray table is a seat back pocket for storing the provided reading materials and any other personal items you wish to place there. The provided materials include the safety information card for the Airbus A220 and an air sickness bag. It's 6:45 a.m. now, which is the scheduled time for boarding to cease, but we're still loading up. The overhead bins are also filling up quick, and it looks like it'll be a fairly full flight over to Montreal this morning.
Air Canada Flight 400, boarding the next few minutes for Montreal. Once we get underway today, we're expecting 49 minutes in the air, an hour and 9 minutes gate to gate. That's a little bit under schedule. Flight time today.
Expected flight time is 49 minutes with 1 hour and 9 minutes gate to gate.
Remain seated, seatbelt fastened. Current weather in Montreal is overcast skies.
Prior to pushback from the gate, the cabin crew handed out Clean Care Plus kits to each passenger. Air Canada distributes these kits to all passengers on all of their flights as a part of their commitment to passenger safety during the pandemic. From the flights I've taken over the past few months, I've come to learn that the contents of these kits changes from flight to flight, based pretty much on what items they can scavenge to put in them. In today's kit, I have several packets of sanitizing hand wipes and a multi-layer face mask.
Ladies and gentlemen from the flight deck, just a quick update. Realize our departure time has come and gone. Ramp is just loading the last of the bags. Expect to have the cargo door closed shortly and be underway in about 5 minutes. Thanks for your patience.
An announcement from the cockpit at 7:03 a.m. that they're still finishing uploading the aircraft, but we should be on our way shortly. Making it to my meeting at 9:30 is looking like it'll be tight. Boarding is complete though, and the jet bridge is detached.
Welcome aboard Air Canada.
Bienvenue à bord d'Air Canada.
Another 10 minutes later, and the safety demonstration is now underway while we sit here at the gate.
So join us as we explore all that Canada has to offer.
Pour votre sécurité et votre confort, soyez attentifs à cette courte vidéo.
Pushing back from the gate at 7:30 a.m. with a now 30-minute delay, it's looking like I should have taken the 6:30 a.m. flight. Nonetheless, we are moving and hopefully will make up a bit of time in the air. We're taxiing to runway 23 for departure, which will send us out to the west side of the airport before making a 180-degree turn to begin our track towards Montreal. Lined up on the runway at 7:40 a.m. and ready to power away from Pearson Airport. Climbing away from the airport and turning left over Lake Ontario, we were given some gorgeous views of the Toronto skyline.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. The captain will be turning off the seatbelt sign. However, he is expecting a few bugs during our ride, so at the moment...
Our climb then took us through the thick cloud layer from the rain showers earlier this morning to where it was nothing but blue skies and cloud surfing. During takeoff and throughout the climb, I noticed that the engines on this aircraft are very quiet, which is great for snoozing on these morning hops. Another thing I like about this aircraft is the huge windows, which are equipped with standard pull-down window shades. Continuing our tour around the seat, under the row near the floor are AC power outlets, which are shared between the seats. On the panel above the seats, there are personal air conditioning vents and reading lights, along with an attendant call button. There are 3 illuminated symbols on the panel as well for seatbelts, smoking, and Wi-Fi availability. Wi-Fi is available on this aircraft, though it is a paid service. Looking at the seatback entertainment screen next, it's tilt adjustable to allow for different viewing angles, and on the bottom edge are a headphone port for connecting to the system audio, a USB 3.0 port, and a USB-C port for charging your devices. Looking at the content available, there are on-demand movies, TV shows, music, podcasts, audiobooks, and games. You can also view up-to-date news headlines and the weather at your destination or another location provided by AccuWeather. The in-flight service menu is accessible through the system, including beverages that are both complimentary and for purchase. There are city guides available in the system for learning more about your destination, and also a section with details about Air Canada and their frequent flyer program, Aeroplan. In the in-flight maps section, there are tons of different viewing options and information available on today's flight. They appear in 3D, and the graphics are great. In general, I'm really impressed by how large the screen is and how good the graphics quality and touch responsiveness are, similar to the fantastic system in economy on Air Canada's Boeing 737 MAX. The bottom bar on the screen shows the progress in today's flight and our expected arrival time. In the settings menu, you can control the system brightness and volume, and also turn off the screen altogether. 25 minutes into the flight, the cabin crew came through with complimentary beverage and snack service, in which I opted for an orange juice. The only snack on offer was pretzels, which is not exactly a breakfast snack item in my eyes. They used to offer some kind of oat cookie on the morning flights, but seem to have done away with that, and so pretzels for breakfast it is. Taking a tour of the rest of the cabin, there are 3 lavatories on board, 2 at the back near the rear galley and another at the front near the front galley. Stepping inside the lavatory and taking a look around, it's quite small but nice and bright. There are also individual packets of hand sanitizer in a dispenser next to the sink, similar to those found in most Clean Care Plus kits. I love how bright and modern looking the aircraft interior is, and I think that the big windows help a lot with that. The seating configuration on these planes is 2x3 in economy and 2x2 in business, with 12 standard recliner business class seats and 125 economy class seats. "19 minutes to go until landing, and we've already begun our descent towards Montreal's Pierre Elliott Trudeau International Airport. Lots of clouds to pass through and some rainy patches as we bump our way down. Our approach from the west to runway 24 left gives us some great views of Montreal's Olympic Stadium and the downtown core.
And ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Montreal. For your safety.
After touching down at 8:33 a.m., we taxied over to park at gate number 1. One last look at the aircraft, even though I really don't have time for it this morning, but it's just such a good looking plane I couldn't resist. Stepping out of the airport at 8:45 a.m. and with my Uber around the corner, I might still be able to make it downtown in time, though the rush hour traffic could put a stop to that. Thanks for joining me on this trip, hit that subscribe button below for more, and I'll see you next time.